The monitoring station threshold's edge hung in the void like a metallic spider, its sensor rays reaching across the boundary between Viridian space and the unknown. Admiral Kethera stood before the main display, her forearms folded behind her back as she watched the slow dance of distant stars. 23 years she had commanded this outpost, and in all that time, nothing had challenged the Empire's borders. Contact, Admiral, called Sensor Operator VYX from his station. Single vessel, bearing 27 Mark IV, approaching at standard velocity. Kethera's eye stalk swiveled toward the tactical display. A small blip appeared on the screen, moving with the steady persistence of a merchant vessel. Classification: Unknown design, Admiral. The ship appears to be primitive. Hull composition suggests iron-based alloys. No energy shield detected. Iron. Kethera's mandibles clicked in amusement. What species still uses iron for starship construction? Scanning databases now, Admiral. VYX's fingers dance across his console. Match found. The vessel appears to be of human origin. The bridge fell silent. Kethera had heard whispers of humans in the outer territories, but they were considered a minor species, barely spacefaring, according to the intelligence reports. Their ships were crude, their technology laughably primitive compared to Viridian engineering. They are still several hours out, VYX continued. Shall I hail them? Not yet, Kethera replied. Let's observe. What's their heading? Direct course for our position, Admiral. They are not deviating. Kethera's skin rippled with unease. Random merchants didn't fly straight toward military installations. Any escort vessels? Negative. The human ship is alone. Weapons? Scanning. I'm detecting what appears to be kinetic projectile systems. Ancient technology, Admiral. Nothing that could threaten our shields. Kethera moved to the observation deck, her boots clicking against the metal floor. Through the transparent aluminum, she could see the human vessel as a distant speck of light. Something about this felt wrong. The Empire's borders were clearly marked, and any legitimate traveler would have requested passage through proper channels. Admiral, VYX called out, his voice carrying a note of confusion. The human ship is broadcasting a signal. What kind of signal? It's difficult to classify. Not a standard communication protocol. More like a beacon. Very low frequency, high power. It's been transmitting continuously since we detected them. Kethera returned to the bridge. Can you decode it? Working on it, Admiral. The signal appears to be a series of mathematical sequences. Prime numbers, geometric progressions, universal constants. It's clearly artificial, but I'm not sure what it's meant to convey. A distress signal? No, Admiral. This is something else entirely. It's too organized, too deliberate. Almost like... Like what? Like coordinates, Admiral. Or maybe a targeting solution. Kethera's blood chilled. She had dismissed the human vessel as a curiosity, but now pieces of a darker puzzle were falling into place. Communications. Hail the human ship immediately. Communications Officer Zara activated the transmission array. This is Viridian Imperial Station, threshold's edge to approaching human vessel. You are entering restricted space. State your business and intentions. The response came after several minutes, transmitted in heavily accented Galactic standard. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the UES Defiant. We are a diplomatic vessel seeking an audience with Viridian Command. Diplomatic. Kethera's mandibles clicked skeptically. VYX, full tactical scan of that vessel. I want to know everything about it. Scanning now, Admiral. The ship is definitely lightly armed, but... VYX paused, his eye stalks blinking rapidly. Admiral, I'm reading some unusual energy signatures. Elaborate. There's a massive power core aboard that vessel, far more sophisticated than their whole design would suggest, and I'm detecting what appears to be a quantum communication array. Kethera's heart began beating faster. Quantum communications were theoretical technology even for the Viridians. Are you certain? The readings are unmistakable, Admiral. That human ship has technology we don't fully understand. Zara, respond to the human captain. Tell them they're authorized to approach, but they must power down all weapons and submit to escort. Transmitting now, Admiral. The human response came quickly. Understood. Threshold's edge. Weapons powered down. We appreciate your cooperation. Something's not right, Kethra muttered. Deploy escort squadron. Full tactical alert. Admiral. VYX interrupted. I'm detecting an energy surge from the human vessel. The quantum communication array is activating. What kind of transmission? Massive data burst, Admiral. Directional, high compression. It's being transmitted toward the edge of the galaxy. Kethra's skin went pale. Ancient warnings from the Academy flooded back to her mind. Stories of species that appeared weak but possessed hidden strengths. Tales of civilizations that used deception and misdirection as weapons. Admiral, VYX's voice was trembling now. The signal just stopped, but according to my readings, it successfully reached its destination. What destination? I don't know, Admiral, but whatever received that transmission is approximately 40,000 light-years away. Kethra stared at the approaching human vessel, her mind racing. A single ship, broadcasting coordinates to an unknown location beyond the galactic edge. This wasn't a diplomatic mission. This was something far more dangerous. All stations, battle alert, she commanded. And someone find me everything we have on human military capabilities. I have a feeling we're about to learn why the outer territories have been so quiet lately. The human ship continued its approach, small and seemingly insignificant against the vast backdrop of space. But Kethra now understood that appearances could be deceiving. And in the depths of space, 40,000 light-years away, something had just received a message that would change everything. The escort squadron took position around the human vessel with practiced precision. 6 Viridian interceptors, each one capable of destroying a small moon, surrounded the crude iron ship like predators circling wounded prey. Admiral Kethra watched from the command deck as the formation approached Threshold's edge. Admiral, Communications Officer Zara announced, the human captain is requesting permission to dock. Granted. Bay 7. Full security detail. Kethra studied the tactical display. The human ship was indeed primitive by Viridian standards, but something about its movement suggested purpose rather than desperation. The vessel maneuvered with confidence, its pilot clearly skilled despite the archaic controls. VYX, any more unusual readings? The quantum communication array has gone dormant, Admiral, but I'm still detecting that massive power core. It's operating at minimal capacity, but the potential output is... He paused, recalculating. Admiral, if that reactor went to full power, it would generate more energy than our entire station. That's impossible. Look at the size of that vessel. I've triple-checked the readings. Admiral, the technology is beyond our current understanding. Kethra's unease deepened. She had commanded frontier stations for decades, and one lesson had been burned into her consciousness. When something seemed too good to be true, it usually was. And when something seemed too primitive to be threatening, it often was the most dangerous of all. Security team to docking bay 7, she ordered. Full combat gear. And send a xenobiologist down there. I want to know everything about our guests. 20 minutes later, Captain Sarachen stepped off a vessel and onto the deck of Threshold's edge. Kethra watched through the security feeds as a human removed a helmet, revealing a face that was surprisingly young for someone commanding a starship. The woman's eyes were dark, alert, and carried the weight of someone who had seen too much. Admiral, Security Chief Briggs reported over the comm. The human captain is requesting a private meeting with you. She says it's regarding galactic security. Tell her I'll meet with her in conference room 3. Full security present. Admiral, she specifically requested no security personnel. She says what she has to share is sensitive. Kethra's mandibles clicked in irritation. Absolutely not. She's in no position to make demands. Admiral, VYX interrupted from his station, I'm detecting more energy signatures from the human vessel. The quantum array is powering up again. Are they transmitting? No, Admiral, but they're receiving. A massive data stream is incoming. Kethra's blood froze. From where? The same location as before, 40,000 light-years away. Can you intercept the transmission? Negative. The encryption is unlike anything in our databases. But, Admiral, the amount of data being transmitted, it's enormous. Star charts, tactical information, power signatures. It's like they're downloading the entire galactic database. Kethra realized she was no longer dealing with a simple diplomatic mission. This was intelligence gathering on a scale she had never imagined. Bricks, bring the human captain to conference room 3 immediately, and I want that ship's communication array disabled. Admiral, they're not cooperating. The humans are refusing to power down their systems. Then disable them manually. We've tried, Admiral. Their technology is resistant to our countermeasures. Kethra strode toward the conference room, her mind racing. Every instinct screamed that she was walking into a trap, but she needed answers. The human captain was waiting when she arrived, standing calmly beside the conference table despite being surrounded by armed guards. Admiral Kethra, Captain Chen said in perfect galactic standard, "Thank you for agreeing to meet with me." "Cut the pleasantries. Human, what are you really doing here?" Chen's expression remained neutral. "I'm here to deliver a message." "From whom?" "From humanity, and from our allies." "What allies?" "Our intelligence reports indicate humans are barely spacefaring." Chen smiled, and Kethra saw something in that expression that made her skin crawl. It was a smile of someone who knew a secret that could change everything. "Your intelligence is incomplete, Admiral. Humanity has been exploring the galaxy for longer than you realize. We've been watching, learning, making friends. And now we're ready to introduce ourselves properly. That transmission from your ship, what did you send?" "Coordinates, and a confirmation code." "Confirmation of what?" "That we've made contact with the Viridian Empire, that we've been treated with appropriate courtesy." Kethra's heart began racing. "Are you threatening me?" "No, Admiral. I'm informing you. The signal I sent was not a message. It was a beacon, and the response we just received contained updated tactical information about every major power in this sector of the galaxy. Impossible. No single species has that kind of intelligence network." "You're right. No single species does." The implications hit Kethra like a physical blow. "You're part of an alliance." "The largest alliance in galactic history, Admiral. Hundreds of species, thousands of worlds, all united by a common principle, the right to exist free from imperial domination. And you expect me to believe that humans, a primitive species, are leading this alliance?" Chen's smile widened. "Not leading, Admiral. Facilitating. You see, humans have a gift that most species lack. We're really good at making friends, and we're even better at keeping them." "VYX." Kethra called over the comm. "Status report on that human vessel." "Admiral, long-range sensors are detecting multiple contacts approaching our position. They are still several hours out, but the energy signatures, they are massive." "How many contacts?" "Difficult to determine, Admiral. The formation is spread across a wide area, but preliminary estimates suggest several hundred vessels." Kethra stayed at Captain Chen, understanding dawning like a cold sunrise. That wasn't a diplomatic mission. That was a scouting report. "Actually, Admiral, it was both. My ship came here to assess whether the Viridian Empire was ready for peaceful contact. Your response will determine what kind of contact you receive. And if I refuse, then you'll meet the fleet anyway, but under less pleasant circumstances." Kethra realized she was no longer facing a single primitive vessel. She was facing the vanguard of something far larger, more dangerous than anything in her worst nightmares. And they had been watching her empire for far longer than anyone had imagined. Admiral Kethra returned to the bridge with her mind reeling. The human captain remained in the conference room under guard, but her words echoed in Kethra's consciousness like a death knell. Several hundred vessels, approaching from beyond the galactic edge, an alliance of hundreds of species, and humanity at the center of it all. "Status report," she commanded. "Long-range sensors confirm multiple contacts. Admiral." VYX reported. They are maintaining formation and steady approach velocity. Estimated arrival in 6 hours. Can you get an accurate count? Difficult, Admiral. The formation is using advanced stealth technology, but I'm reading at least 300 distinct energy signatures. Possibly more. 300 ships. Kethera's throat constricted. The entire Viridian border fleet consisted of 200 vessels spread across 50 systems. If this human alliance was telling the truth, they had just sent a force larger than anything the Empire could muster on short notice. Communications. Priority transmission to Imperial Command. Full tactical alert. Request immediate reinforcement of the sector. Transmitting now, Admiral. Tactical analysis of the approaching vessels. Unknown configurations, Admiral. The energy signatures don't match any known species in our databases, but the power readings are substantial. Kethera moved to the strategic display, studying the approaching formation. The ships were spread across a vast area, suggesting coordination and advanced tactical planning. This wasn't a raiding party or an exploratory mission. This was a military operation. Admiral, Zara called from communications. Imperial Command is requesting clarification on the nature of the threat. Tell them we're facing a potential first contact scenario with an unknown alliance of significant military capability. Admiral, VYX interrupted. The human vessel is transmitting again. Another quantum burst, but this time it's directed at the approaching fleet. Can you intercept? Negative. The encryption is too advanced. But Admiral, the transmission was very brief, like a status update. Kethera's skin rippled with anxiety. The human captain was in constant communication with her fleet, reporting on every development, every conversation, every tactical deployment, every strategic decision was being transmitted to the approaching armada. Bricks, I want the human captain brought back to the bridge. Now. Admiral, she's requesting permission to remain in communication with her vessel. Denied. I want her where I can see her. Captain Chen arrived on the bridge with the same calm composure she had maintained throughout the encounter. She looked around the command center with professional interest, taking in the tactical displays and crew stations. Impressive facility, Admiral, she said conversationally. Your sensor arrays are quite sophisticated. Enough games, Captain. I know you're reporting our every move to your fleet. Of course I am. That's what reconnaissance officers do. You're not a diplomat. You're a spy. I'm both, Admiral. Human society tends to blur traditional role boundaries. We find it more efficient. Kethera studied the human's face, searching for any sign of deception or fear. She found neither. Captain Chen displayed the confidence of someone who held all the advantages in a negotiation. What do you want? Kethera asked. To avoid unnecessary bloodshed. The Alliance has no quarrel with the Viridian Empire, but we cannot allow your expansion to continue unchecked. Our expansion. Admiral, the Viridian Empire has conquered or absorbed 4 to 7 systems in the past century. Your expansion has displaced millions of beings and destroyed dozens of civilizations. The Alliance was formed specifically to prevent further Imperial aggression. Those were primitive worlds. We brought them civilization, technology, order. You brought them subjugation. And now you're facing the consequences of that choice. Admiral, VYX called urgently. The approaching fleet is decelerating. They are taking up positions at the edge of the system. Tactical formation. Unknown, Admiral. But they are maintaining perfect coordination despite being spread across billions of kilometers. Kethera moved to the long-range display. The Alliance fleet had indeed stopped at the system's edge, creating a perfect sphere around the Viridian insulation. It was a textbook encirclement, executed with precision that spoke of extensive planning and superior technology. Captain Chen, Kethera said, "What are your terms?" Simple. The Viridian Empire agrees to halt all expansion activities and enters into negotiation for the establishment of recognized territorial boundaries. Your existing systems remain under Imperial control, but no further conquest or absorption of independent worlds. And if we refuse, then the Alliance will be forced to take more direct action. You're threatening war. I'm offering peace, Admiral, But peace requires concession from both sides. Admiral, Zara interrupted. Imperial Command is responding to our alert. Admiral Vogt is en route with the Third Fleet. Estimated arrival in 18 hours. Captain Chen's expression didn't change, but Kethra caught a flicker of something in her eyes. Admiral, I would respectfully suggest that you discourage additional military deployments. The Alliance has been monitoring Imperial fleet movements for some time. We know the exact composition and capabilities of your Third Fleet. Impossible. Admiral Vogt commands 6 to 7 vessels, including the dreadnought Imperial Wrath. His tactical doctrine favors concentrated firepower and direct assault. He is an excellent commander, but his strategies are predictable. Kethra's blood ran cold. The level of intelligence the Alliance possessed was staggering. They knew Imperial commanders, fleet compositions, tactical doctrines. How long had they been watching? How long? She asked. How long have we been observing the Empire? About 30 years, Admiral. Humans are very patient when we need to be. 30 years. We've been studying your military capabilities, your political structure, your economic systems. We know your strengths and your weaknesses. We know which systems would revolt if given the opportunity, and which governors would switch sides if offered better terms. You're talking about the destruction of our civilization. No, Admiral. I'm talking about its evolution. The age of galactic empires is ending. The age of cooperation is beginning. The question is whether the Viridian Empire will adapt to this new reality or be swept aside by it. Admiral, VYX called out, I'm detecting new energy signatures from the Alliance fleet. They are powering up weapon systems. Kethra looked at the tactical display, seeing the represented firepower of 300 unknown vessels. Against her single monitoring station. Captain Chen, she said quietly, what happens now? That depends on you, Admiral. The Alliance fleet is prepared to wait for your decision, but they won't wait forever. Kethra realized she was facing the most important decision of her career, the choice between war and peace, between imperial expansion and negotiated coexistence. And standing before her was a human who had just demonstrated that everything the Empire thought it knew about galactic civilization was wrong. The silence on the bridge stretched for long minutes as Admiral Kethra weighed her options. The tactical display showed the Alliance fleet maintaining their positions at the system's edge, a perfect sphere of unknown vessels surrounding her station. 300 ships against one outpost. The mathematics were brutally simple. Admiral, VYX reported, I'm detecting additional quantum transmissions from the Alliance fleet. They are coordinating with something. With what? Unknown, Admiral. But the transmissions are being directed toward multiple locations across the galaxy. It's like they're updating a vast network. Captain Chen nodded approvingly. The Alliance maintains constant communication across all member territories. Every major development is shared instantaneously with all coalition partners. How is that possible? Quantum communication across galactic distances should be impossible. Should be, Admiral. But humans have a saying, impossible is just another word for a problem we haven't solved yet. Kethra moved to the communication station. Zara, get me a secure channel to Imperial Command. I need to speak with the Emperor directly. Admiral, Chen interjected, I should inform you that the Alliance is monitoring all Imperial communications. Any orders for military deployment will be detected and counted. You're jamming our communications. We're observing them. There's a difference. Kethra's mandibles clicked in frustration. Every advantage he thought she possessed was being systematically neutralized. How did you do it? How did you build this alliance without anyone knowing? Patience, Admiral, and understanding. Most species in the galaxy have suffered under imperial expansion at some point. The Terran Republic, the Andromedans, the Crystalline Collective, the nomadic fleets. We all had one thing in common. We were tired of being conquered. The Andromedans were destroyed centuries ago. No, Admiral, they were displaced, driven to the galactic rim by imperial expansion. But they survived, and they're remembered. The Crystalline Collective is a myth. The Collective is very real, Admiral. They've been hiding in the galactic core for millennia, waiting for the right moment to emerge. Kethra's worldview was crumbling. Species she had thought extinct were apparently thriving in hidden corners of the galaxy. Technologies she had considered impossible were being deployed against her station. And at the center of it all were humans, a species her intelligence services had dismissed as primitive and irrelevant. "Admiral," VYX called urgently, "I'm detecting massive power buildup from the Alliance fleet. They are charging weapon systems." "All weapon systems." "Affirmative. 300 ships, all powering up simultaneously." Kethra looked at Captain Chen, seeing the same calm expression she had maintained throughout the encounter. "Is this your idea of diplomacy?" "This is our idea of being prepared, Admiral. The Alliance hopes for peace, but we're ready for war." "Admiral," Brix reported from security, "we're detecting boarding pods launching from several Alliance vessels. They are not approaching us, but they are deploying for rapid assault." "How many pods?" "Thousands, Admiral. Each one appears to be carrying a full combat team." Kethra realized she was looking at the most sophisticated military operation she had ever witnessed. The Alliance wasn't just surrounding her station with ships. They were preparing for boarding actions, ground assault, and simultaneous attacks across multiple vectors. "Captain Chen, what do you want from me?" "A decision, Admiral. The Alliance needs to know whether the Viridian Empire will negotiate or fight. And if I choose to fight, then you'll be fighting alone. The Alliance has been in contact with several Imperial governors who are dissatisfied with current policies. They are prepared to declare independence if the Empire chooses war." "You're talking about revolution." "I'm talking about evolution, Admiral. The galaxy is changing. The old ways of conquest and domination are ending. The new age will be built on cooperation and mutual benefit." "Admiral," Zara interrupted, "Imperial Command is transmitting emergency orders. Admiral Vogt has been instructed to proceed at maximum speed with the entire Third Fleet." "How long until arrival?" 16 hours, Admiral." Captain Chen shook her head sadly. "Admiral, please reconsider. The Alliance has been monitoring Imperial fleet movements for decades. We know the exact capabilities of every vessel in your navy. Admiral Vogt's fleet will be destroyed before it reaches this system." "You're bluffing." "Am I?" "Admiral, the Alliance fleet surrounding this station represents less than 2% of our total military capability. We have fleets positioned near every major Imperial system. If the Empire chooses war, it will be fighting on 100 fronts simultaneously." Kethra felt the weight of galactic history pressing down on her. The decision she made in the next few minutes would determine the fate of billions of beings across the galaxy. "What guarantees do I have that the Alliance will honor any agreement?" "The same guarantees the Alliance has that the Empire will honor its commitments. Trust, Admiral, and the understanding that continued survival depends on cooperation." "Admiral," VYX reported, "I'm detecting new contacts at the edge of the system. Multiple vessels dropping out of hyperspace. Imperial reinforcements." "Negative, Admiral. The energy signatures match Alliance vessels. It appears their fleet just doubled in size." Kethra stared at the tactical display, watching as hundreds of new contacts appeared around her position. The Alliance hadn't just surrounded her station. They had turned it into the focal point of the largest military demonstration in galactic history. 600 ships, she whispered. "Actually, Admiral, it's closer to 800 now, and more are arriving every hour." Kethra realized she was witnessing the emergence of a new galactic power, one that had been hiding in the shadows for decades, building strength, forging alliances, and preparing for this moment. And at the center of it all were humans, a species that had mastered the art of bringing together diverse civilizations under a common cause. "Captain Chen," she said quietly, "I need to know. If the Empire agrees to negotiations, what happens to our sovereignty?" "You maintain control of your existing territory, Admiral, but the age of expansion is over. The galaxy belongs to all its inhabitants, not just the strongest." Kethra looked at the tactical display one more time, seeing the overwhelming force arrayed against her position. But more than that, she saw the future of galactic civilization, and she realized that the choice was not between war and peace, but between extinction and evolution. Admiral Kethra stood in the observation deck of Threshold's Edge, watching the most extraordinary sight in galactic history. Nearly 1,000 vessels from dozens of species had gathered in the system, their combined energy signatures creating a light show that rivaled the nearby star. The Alliance fleet had grown throughout the day as more ships answered the call, each one representing a civilization that had chosen cooperation over conquest. Admiral, VYX reported from the bridge, Imperial Command is requesting an immediate status update. Tell them I'm still evaluating the situation. Admiral Vogt is demanding permission to engage the Alliance fleet upon arrival. Kethera closed her eyes, feeling the weight of billions of lives hanging in the balance. Tell Admiral Vogt that I'm assuming tactical command of this sector under Emergency Protocol 7. All Imperial vessels are to hold position at the system's edge and await further orders. Admiral, that's going to cause significant political complications. Let me worry about politics. VYX. Captain Chen approached, having been allowed to move freely throughout the station as negotiations continued. Admiral, the Alliance appreciates your restraint, but we need a decision soon. Our fleet commanders are getting nervous. How nervous? Nervous enough to start making preparations for preemptive action. Kethera turned to face the human captain. What happens if I agree to negotiations? What happens to my career, my crew, my empire? Your career becomes legendary, Admiral. You will be remembered as the officer who prevented the largest war in galactic history. Your crew will be honored as the first Imperial personnel to make peaceful contact with the Alliance. And your empire will survive to see a new age of galactic civilization. And if I refuse, then history will remember you as the officer who fired the first shot in the war that destroyed the Viridian Empire. Admiral, Zara call from communications. I'm receiving a priority transmission from the Imperial Palace. The Emperor himself is requesting a direct communication. Kethera's heart skipped. The Emperor never communicated directly with field commanders unless the situation was truly desperate. Put him through. The main display flickered to life, showing the ancient figure of Emperor Vortex seated on his crystalline throne, his 4 eyes fixed on Kethera with an intensity that had terrified Imperial officers for centuries. Admiral Kethera, the Emperor's voice resonated through the bridge, explain to me why 1,000 hostile vessels are gathered at our border while you discuss terms with primitive humans. Your Majesty, the situation is more complex than initial reports suggested. The Alliance represents a significant portion of galactic civilization. They possess technology and military capabilities that exceed our current assessments. Are you telling me that the mighty Viridian Empire should bow to a collection of refugee species? I'm telling you that the Empire faces a choice between negotiation and annihilation, Your Majesty. The Emperor's expression darkened. Admiral, you will order the immediate withdrawal of all hostile forces from Imperial space. If they refuse, you will destroy them. Your Majesty, with respect, that course of action would result in the complete destruction of the station and the deaths of all personnel aboard. Then die with honor, Admiral. The Empire does not negotiate with inferiors. Captain Chen stepped forward, entering the Emperor's view. Your Majesty, I am Captain Sarah Chen of the Terran Republic. I represent the Galactic Alliance for Peaceful Coexistence. We extend an offer of negotiation and mutual recognition. A human dares to address the Emperor of the Viridian Empire. Vortheg's voice carried centuries of imperial arrogance. Admiral Kethera, execute this creature immediately. Your Majesty, Kethera said carefully, I believe it would be wise to hear what the Alliance has to offer. The Empire does not negotiate with lesser species. Admiral Vogt has been given full authority to resolve this situation. You will stand down and allow him to proceed. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. Kethera realized that the Emperor had just signed the death warrant for thousands of Imperial personnel, and potentially billions of Imperial citizens. Captain Chen, she said quietly, how long do we have? Admiral Vogt's fleet will arrive in 6 hours. The Alliance will interpret their approach as a hostile act and respond accordingly. How will they respond? With overwhelming force, Admiral. The Alliance has been preparing for this scenario for decades. Every Imperial fleet movement has been anticipated and countered. Admiral, VYX reported, I'm detecting massive energy buildups throughout the Alliance fleet. They are preparing for battle. Kethera looked at the tactical display. seeing the represented firepower of nearly 1,000 vessels. Against Admiral Vogt's 6 to 7 ships, the outcome was predetermined. But more than that, she realized that the Alliance had fleets positioned near every major Imperial system. The coming battle would be the opening move in a war that would consume the galaxy. "Captain Chen," she said, "I need you to understand something. I swore an oath to serve the Viridian Empire. I cannot betray that oath." "I understand, Admiral, but oaths can be interpreted in different ways. You swore to serve the Empire, but what serves the Empire better? Blind obedience that leads to destruction, or wise leadership that ensures survival?" Kethra moved to the communication station. "Zara, open a channel to all Imperial vessels in the sector." "Admiral, what are you doing?" "My duty as a Viridian officer." She activated the communication array. "All Imperial vessels, this is Admiral Kethra. I am assuming emergency command of this sector under Military Code 77 Alpha. All vessels will hold position and await further orders." "Admiral, VYX called urgently. Admiral Vogt is refusing to acknowledge your authority. He is demanding that you stand down. Tell Admiral Vogt that I am exercising my authority as sector commander to prevent unnecessary casualties. If he wishes to dispute my orders, he can do so after the current crisis is resolved. Admiral is threatening to have you court-martialed. Let him try." Kethra turned to Captain Chen. "I'm prepared to attend negotiations between the Alliance and the Empire, but I need guarantees that Imperial personnel will be treated fairly." "You have my word, Admiral. The Alliance has no interest in revenge or punishment. We simply want to build a better future for all galactic civilizations." "Admiral," Zara reported, "I'm receiving transmission from 17 Imperial governors. They are requesting permission to send diplomatic representatives to the negotiations." 17. "The number is growing, Admiral. It appears that significant portions of the Imperial government are interested in peaceful resolution." Kethra realized that the galaxy was changing before her eyes. The old order of Imperial domination was giving way to something new, something built on cooperation rather than conquest. And she had been given the opportunity to help shape that new order. "Captain Chen," she said, "inform the Alliance that the Viridian Empire is prepared to enter into negotiations. But I want one thing understood. This is not surrender. This is evolution." "Understood, Admiral. And may I say, you're making the right choice. History will remember this moment as the beginning of a new age of galactic civilization." As Kethra watched the Alliance fleet begin to reconfigure from battle formation to ceremonial escort, she realized that she had just witnessed the birth of a new galaxy, one where cooperation replaced conquest, where diversity was celebrated rather than suppressed, and where the future belonged to all species equally. The age of empires was ending. The age of alliance had begun.